Here's George Bush. I saw this live. Couldn't believe what I was hearing, but then again, of course I could.
The security measures incorporated into our lives are both sources of comfort.
Can't hear him.
And reminders of our vulnerability.
You can't hear him. Okay, let me see if I can get a. Let's see here. Damn it! Why is everything so low? Pretty much, he said that we're being reminded of our vulnerabilities and he said the security comforts that we've had in place since, which is the worst threat to American democracy ever. I'll just tell you what he says, and I'll repeat it.
And we have seen growing evidence that the dangers to our country can come not only across borders, but from violence that gathers within.
So there you go. We're seeing growing evidence that danger to our country can not only come from outside of our borders, but from violence that is gathering from within. What could he be talking about? What could he be referencing?
There is little cultural overlap between violent extremists abroad and violent extremists at home. But in their disdain for pluralism, in their disregard for human life, in their determination to defile national symbols, they are children of the same foul spirit, and it is our continuing duty to confront them.
Okay, so he's pretty much saying that the cultural differences of those who attacked us on 9/11, the Muslims, and the cultural differences of those who are attacking us now, people who believe in the Constitution, there's very little overlap there, but they're all children of the same foul spirit. You see, terrorism, everything that they sold us in 2001 is gone. They gave us Al-Qaeda, they gave us Islamic terror, and then they needed a reason to go and seize all of the riches of the Middle East. Everything that the Middle East had to offer. And they got their opium, and they got their oil, and whatever the hell else they were doing, their pipelines. But now the operation has changed, and it's come home. And we're all Al-Qaeda now. You see, Islam is a distant memory now. You created, even though they created generations of actual terrorists. If there wasn't a terrorism problem before 2001, there sure is now, with every wedding party and every hospital we bombed. Absolutely. But now I guess terrorism is like an avian bird. It's like an avian flu. It's like some kind of a bird flu. You know? It may strike in this place and that place. It just takes root. And we bombed the first infection out of the Middle East, thank God. But now this bird flu has come home to the United States. And when he's talking about defiling national symbols, what is he talking about? Is he talking about the years of arson and wanton murder in the streets and looting, and the desecration of federal courthouses and Secret Service buildings and churches in Washington, D.C., and flag burning and everything else? Is he talking about that? No. He's probably talking about the couple hundred people who got agent provocateured to the Capitol building and waved flags and screamed and pointed and screamed at things. Pointed and screamed as they were being waved in by another stand-down order, another well-timed stand-down order. Unbelievable. This is what we were given as a gift on the 20th anniversary of 9/11. The Washington Post celebrated Bush, because everybody started celebrating George Bush. The Washington Post celebrated Bush playing his role in an obviously coordinated narrative hit job. They said the Capitol, of course, was the suspected target of Flight 93. The heroes on board that plane spared the lawmakers and others who worked there from the fate of the occupants of the Twin Towers and the Pentagon. The January 6 terrorists breached. Yeah, can you imagine if Al-Qaeda came to New York City and just trespassed? Can you imagine the headlines then? Terrorists trespassed in the lobby of the World Trade Center. One of them kicked over a podium with a bust of Winston Churchill on it. This was the worst attack on our nation's history. Can you imagine if Al-Qaeda came to New York and trespassed in the lobby of One World Trade Center. Walked around with flags. Both the 9/11 terrorists and the domestic 1/6 terrorists sought to destroy our democracy in service to a crazed ideology of intolerance. That came from the Washington Post. Democracy dies in darkness. Don't worry, they'll provide all the darkness you need. They'll provide all the darkness you need over there at WAPO, for sure. You want to see another complete loser? The Occupy Democrats parading and applauding George Bush. Look at this one. Look at this guy, Brian. Where is this? No, who's that? Brian Klass. Is this him? Yeah, Brian Klass. I'm not one to whitewash Bush's legacy, but seriously, good for him for saying this. Linking January 6 and 9/11 is important, highlighting how Americans have tragically become the gravest danger to our democracy. I know it's 7:45 and I'm losing time in the first hour, but whatever. If we don't take calls tonight, we'll have plenty of time on Wednesday, and I don't have any guests there, and we'll take calls then or whatever. I have to get all this out. You think about something like this. Whoever the hell Brian associate professor in global politics at UCL, Washington Post columnist, of course. This loser. Let me see his face. I want to see his loser fucking face. Look at that loser. Look at this dumb freak. Take a look at this dumb freak's face as I talk about him, okay? Whoever he is, he's a talking penis. A limp one at that. A limp, leaky, shriveled cock. That is Brian Klass over here. What a pathetic display to see people act as if they have it all figured out to the point where they can allow George Bush to receive some kudos, some brownie points. If you find yourself walking in lockstep with people like George Bush and Hillary Clinton, people who helped launch the last phony war and perpetuate it and mutate it along the way, and now are recategorizing it to rub the bellies of the children, the retarded children in this country who have been stroking themselves to that joke of January 6th. It was a joke. Anybody who believes it is what they're saying it is truly retarded. In the most clinical sense that you can call somebody retarded. Now, how oblivious does somebody like limp, leaking cock Brian Klass have to be to not notice that they have been jumping from one bullshit story to the next, and the same people behind the scenes of both are holding your hand throughout the entire thing? It's pathetic. It's pathetic. He actually thinks, this loser from Washington Post, that he is in a position to compliment the evolution of George Bush, to compliment the supposed evolution of George Bush and his stances. George Bush has finally caught up to Brian Klass. That's what this loser, the paramecium brain, actually believes. He believes, congratulations, George Bush, for arriving at my conclusion. The only conclusion Brian Klass has, and idiots like him, that they have been allowed to draw, has been issued by George Bush and his network of glad-handing traitors. It's the only reason why Brian Klass has a conclusion to draw in the first place. And he's complimenting Bush for growing up. My God. My God. So that's what they gave us on 9/11. That's what they gave us.